Greetings, various and mighty people across the grand spectrums of time and indeed the multiverse. My name is Alexander Gordon Johans, though I am now playing around with the name Robert. And I've got a cold, so excuse me. Okay, so real talk now. It's midnight on the 21st of December, and sort of had a weirdly fucked up schedule because, ironically, given what I'm about to discuss, the subject matter, I was sort of too happy when I should have been sleeping, and that sort of fucked me up and meant that I only got 4 hours sleep, which then meant I ended up having a nap, and here I am. But it's Christmas, right? It's Christmas, I'm newly unemployed, right? And as I have discussed in the past, as I'm kind of going to discuss a little bit more, like, things have been tough. They have been tough, right? But I'm chill. I am genuinely chill, you know. I do have bad days. But I'm chill, and I'm happy, and I'm good. You know. And look, I know that a lot of the people who follow me don't like me. That they are ideologically opposed to me as I'm ideologically opposed to them. Thing is, though, I give a shit about people, right? Just generally. It's a thing that I have where I don't want people or things to be unhappy, right? You know, I mean, I'm the sort of person who gets squeamish about installing hardware on a computer because I'm like, no, computer, don't be hurt. You know, so I care about people, and I know, right, because of the way these things work, because of the way these movements work, because of the way they prey on people, that a large majority of the people who are following my videos certainly who are ideologically opposed to me, that there's a good potential, a good probability that the people following me, if they're not suicidal themselves, if they have not had a history of being suicidal, they certainly have known people who have been suicidal and have had dark days of depression in and of themselves anyway, or have known people. Like, I know that very much a lot of people in my sort of, my demographic, as it were, my sort of, my age range and stuff, that we're all sort of, I suppose, to render it a little bit lightly, we're all sort of suffering from a case of the Debbie Downers. We're all a bit not liking things at the moment. And you know, I do believe that there is a great deal of darkness to come, and it's quite possible that because of certain ideological differences, I might be on the other side of conflict in the coming darkness. But, like, here's a thing that I've sort of said about myself in the past, and so I think it's relevant now. I'm the sort of guy who, if I was in Hitler's bunker, would have been trying to talk him out of committing suicide. Because, like, no, everybody deserves a chance at fucking redemption. Everybody deserves a chance at living a nice, quiet life, regardless of what they have done, right? And so, yeah, we might have ideological differences. I might, in fact, be on the side of advocating war against the ideals you believe in. Because, I personally don't think Nazism is a good thing. I personally think that Nazism is a very, very bad thing. I don't like genocide. I think genocide is the one instance where pretty much that makes murder morally justifiable to prevent genocide, because genocide is bad. But equally, I am not someone who believes in revenge. That doesn't mean I don't have a great desire for revenge, but I have a great desire for a great many things, but ultimately I decide what is right and wrong for myself, and if I've decided that something is wrong, I'm not going to fucking do it. By and large. Obviously, the fiction that I write is a kind of different thing, but that's, I suppose, because whilst I may know all the arguments why all fiction not good, I shouldn't write that, there is a little part of me that's just like, yeah, but it's fiction though, ultimately people can grow the fuck up, right? Like, it's not like we need to have some grand scales weighted and be like, only when everybody has an equal amount of stuff written about them. Yeah. So I suppose that's where that comes from. But I don't think revenge is a good thing. I give a shit about other people, regardless of the sides of the conflict that we may be on, right? That doesn't mean I'm a mug. It doesn't mean I'm stupid, right? You can be compassionate and you can still want to bash a fucking Nazi in the face. And so what I'm saying is that, like, Christmas is one of those times of the year when the world stops. When the world stops and we sort of partake in this sort of national, socio-culturally accepted ritual, I mean, it is a ritual. It is a pagan ritual of, the winter solstice or seeing in the new year. It's when everybody turns to each other and it's like, hey, we're halfway out of the dark. Hey, we're not dead. And it's also the time where kind of the whole world stops and you just have time to think. And frequently, this is a time when you are thinking about family, either because you are now forced by this circumstance of ritual to spend a lot more time with your family, or because you are very aware that you would be spending a lot of time with your family if it not for the situations that have made that not be possible. And so it's a time of year where kind of you find yourself being more introspective than usual, even if you're even generally extroverted, sort of happy, cheery people who don't generally get depression can find themselves a bit like fuck come Christmas, because of the way Christmas gives you that time and space to think about family and think about legacy and think about, you know, happiness, and do you make people happy, and, you know, like this whole thing of giving and receiving, and, you know, the way it's sort of this merging of capitalism and religion and paganism. You know, it's a lot of shit that's going on there that makes that can play on a lot of different things that make us think. And so this why, well, I'm not saying this is why, but certainly I don't think it's a coincidence that this is the time of year when there are so many. This is a time of year when there are just so many cases of suicide and attempted suicide, because this is, you know, Christmas is the grand ritual when everybody is supposed to be happy and sitting around with their family, and it's like, you know, no matter what's happened, and well, you know, somebody's got cancer and somebody's dying and somebody's an evil old bastard, but we'll all come round and we'll sit together and we'll eat some shit food and drink some shit alcohol and we'll pretend to be happy as we listen to shit jokes out of shit crackers, right? Like, that's the presentation of things, and the reality is more, okay, there's shit all on, it's fucking cold, it's expensive to heat the house, it's an expensive time of year just in terms of food and stuff to buy, and like the expectation weighs upon you, and you've given a lot of time to think, and there's almost this sort of guilty association of like, well, surely you care about the buying of things and the giving of the things and the Christianity and paganism and surely stuff. And it can get on top of people, and it does get on top of people, and people kill themselves, and that's not good. Because, you know, like, I'm not gonna give, you know, one of these sort of toothless, you know, sort of PSA style, hey kids, don't commit suicide, because that's not what I do, because there wouldn't be a point to doing this if that were the case. Cults exist because people are social animals. Even people who can't be social have a craving to be social, right? I have this, you know, this ex-boyfriend who is still quite a good friend of mine, and he is severely autistic. Like, he can't go out to the shops, he can't be in the same room as someone if he doesn't know and trust them enough, and even he needs and craves to spend time with people, and that's the fucked up thing about us, right? Like, that we are a species that needs and craves and wants social interaction, but we need the right kind of social interaction, and if we don't get it, it fucks us up. And we will look for some kind of social connection some other way, and people exploit that, right? You know, terrorist cells exploit that, you know. They say, okay, we need a bunch of dumb motherfuckers to go blow themselves up because, you know, we've got to advance our fucking cause of evilness, right? Although, of course, they always think it's their cause of almighty graciousness and we will create the grand utopia! And the way they do that, the way they convince people to do this is they say, okay, we're your family. We'll look after you now. We will give you compassion and connection and this is how actually a lot of addiction works. A lot of addiction is based on this idea of wanting a connection, wanting familiarity, wanting to feel like you belong, right? I know that for me, for so many years, like I know that is certainly a big part of why I like, or of why I like certain video games, right? That I love the Assassin's Creed series and I love the Assassin's Creed series and Skyrim and Pokemon because the gameplay forced you to come into contact with and sort of incentivized building these sort of strong connections and familiarity with characters. You know, the Pokemon who's got the moves you really like and is strong enough to take on all of the bosses and you gain affection for because this virtual creature is what allows you to achieve victory after victory. You know, the important NPC who gives you the necessary top-ups, who lets you get ahead early and who thus makes you feel safe because this character is the one that will make me be the badass. It's why, in a sort of different kind of way, I spent so many years playing Minecraft because Minecraft, in a way, was the game that said it's okay to be alone for me. Minecraft was the game that was all about the fantasy of running away. That, you know, I mean, okay, they've got Minecraft story mode now and all this, but like, Minecraft, as you play it, is basically, you are Steve. You are plonked down in the middle of goddamn nowhere. You gotta survive. And you start from nothing and you build up and you go and it's like you don't need anyone. It sort of plays on the, you know, on the idea of connection by almost sort of saying you don't need the connection. The connection was inside you all along, right? You don't need a family. Look at you. You're building plywood bridges all the way across the Minecraft world. Look at you. You're awesome. You're building to the sky. Yeah. And like this is why so many people, you know, become alcoholics, become, you know, drug addicts, because it's not so much that you're chemically chasing the high so much as you like that this gave you a connection and you want that connection again, right? I know that, like, okay, I mean, I am very conscious of the fact that I've been drinking quite a lot lately because, to be honest, Trump got elected. Trump got elected, I started watching a lot more things, and I drink when I watch a lot of things. So those two things sort of coincided, and of course now it's Christmas and New Year, so it's drinky time. But that's not really what I'm worried about. The two things that I actually have quite an addiction for are Diet Coke and Mint Imperials. And the mint thing, actually, there is sort of a scientific explanation, which is not the connection thing, because that is just that even someone who cannot smell, because like literally the olfactory bulb didn't develop in their brain, like even for them, they can smell mints, they can taste mints at the back of their throat. Which also you can taste alcohol in the same way, so I suppose I need to be a bit worried about that. But like for me, it's Diet Coke. Diet Coke is the thing that fucks me up because it's it's caffeinated, and that's why I have decaffeinated Diet Coke now, the gold cans. Big because Diet Coke is the drink that I drank as a child when I was happy, right? Like squash is the drink that I drank because there was nothing else. I like it. I'll drink it. I'll happily drink a lot of it. But Diet Coke is the connection to happier times. And this is how so many addictions work, and this is how cults work. And you see this among the alt-right. They say it very coldly, very calculatingly, that they will go out and they will essentially work as a sort of suicide prevention people as a way of advancing their cause, right? Saying, hey, come, join us, brother, join the Aryan Brotherhood, we will look after you, come, take the red pill, it'll be okay, come, yes, there'll be lots of hot chicks, it's alright, you'll be okay. And that's bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit, right? Like, the moment that you are deciding to join the alt-right, you are saying, I will die a virgin and I will get killed by everyone because I will be a complete fuckwit and nobody will like me. But at that moment, when you are at your lowest ebb and this guy is like, look, I'll be your friend, you've got brothers, you don't really give a shit, right? It's that thing of like, I don't know if it's Nietzsche, but it's this idea of what you are in the dark. What are you when nobody is watching? Because when you are all alone, when you feel you have been abandoned, when you have wrestled so long with your self-loathing, with your own mind, with every dark thought that comes with, 2016 for one, then it can be very hard to say no when somebody's willing to offer you a shoulder to cry on. Because they're offering you companionship, they're offering you friendship. And that's why they do it. Come, brother, join with us. You come, join the Grand Army. We will look after you. And this is this whole idea of the culture of memes, the secret language. It's I mean, this is the idea of the Masons and the secret handshakes. It's all about convincing you that you are part of a community. The fact that the alt-right speak their own language, that they have their own obscure insults, all to say, we are the cool kids, we are the awesome, join with us and you shall have a community, we are your brothers. And look at the communists, right? The whole thing of comrades, join with us in open revolution. It's all about preying on the sense of isolation. It's all about preying on desperation. It's all about preying on people who have nothing and saying, "We will give you this. We will give you this." And the alt-right, says, "Not an argument, not an argument," and what it's saying when it is talking about arguments, when it is talking about debates, it is saying, "We'll talk to you. We will have something to talk about." I mean, it's quite sneaky and sly in the way that it works, because to the untrained eye, the whole hashtag not an argument thing, the whole "oh, you never debate" thing is just cocksure trolling, is all just posturing and, "Oh, look at us! Look at us! We're brilliant, and we'll win all of it, all because we are the best and we know everything. Look at us! We have got the biggest dicks in the world." And to anyone who doesn't hold your opinions, that's just, "Well, you're a cunt. I don't care. Moving on." But to the vulnerable, that's a baited hook. And this is something that I myself struggle with, is that, like, when you think you're alone, even negative attention feels positive, because, hey, at least it's attention, right? We'll talk to you. We'll have something to talk about. Even if you disagree with us now, we can talk about what we believe in, and therefore you will have a sense of camaraderie and comradeship, and then we will win you over, and you will join with us, and you will be our brothers, and when we call, you will come. When we call, you will come. Or at the very least, you will parrot the slogan. If you won't go on the battlefield yourself, you might encourage someone to, at some point, go on the battlefield. It's a very cold, calculating thing, and I'm not sure a lot of the people among the alt-right are even aware that this is happening. It's like this whole idea of the overlap between trolls and the alt-right, the overlap between the genuine Nazis who are like, "Yes, the white race is being oppressed, and we will go out and we will protect the white race, and we will make them superior because the black people are evil and disgusting and inferior, and we will wipe them out because the white race are brilliant." Right? It's like you've got those people, and then you've got the people who are just like, "Well, it's just memes though. It's just dank memes, and they're like brothers, and we say stupid shit, and it's funny because nobody's actually a Nazi though." And everybody knows cuckold is a stupid fucking insult. They just say it because it's a brothers. We just say that because it's funny. And it's like the actual core of the alt-right, the actual core of the Nazi movement within the alt-right is very tiny. It's a very tiny group of mad motherfuckers, the rest of which are just all a bunch of trolls saying, "Oh man, isn't this really cool? We're just going around sort of saying things to insult the left, and oh look, they're so triggered. Look at them. They're so angry at us. Oh my god, they think we're going to commit genocide. Hey, they think that's insane. We're not going to commit genocide." Yes, we're totally not going to commit genocide. Ignore the stockpiling of the guns and the mass sort of foretelling of race war. We're totally not going to commit genocide. We're totally not thinking about that. Totally. Keep on with the joking and the japing and the making of the rock music. Yes, yes. Quickly, quickly, we need more brainwashing over here. Cults prey on those who are lost, who are down in the dark. And I know this because the fucking alt-right tried it on with me. And it took a while before I banished enough of my own demons that I was able to be completely fucking free of it. But I'm here to tell you that you don't need to be a part of a community in order to be okay. You don't need to be part of a family to be okay. And this absolutely is not the part where I then say, yes, you don't need the alt-right to save you because I shall be on your Lord and Master, and I shall welcome you into the cult of the architects of chaos, because I am the Fashnik, and you shall all bow before me, and I will look after you, because you are my loyal people. It's like, no. My point is that I have lived with darkness my whole life. I have lived with darkness I haven't even known about for the majority of my life, but I have lived with feelings of inadequacy and self-hatred and desires to end my life for a lot of it, right? And you know, a lot of the alt-right, a lot of the horrible comments that I get are people saying, die, kill yourself. Variations thereupon, like, you deserve to be dead. And partly, I do genuinely think that's because there is a bunch of stupid people among the alt-right who don't realise what the fuck is actually going on and are just like, man, do he be such a stupid lolcow! And we just say that, you know, he should kill himself because he's feeling suicidal, man, and it's so funny that he's a fucking libtard, yeah! It's like, no, you're just a fucking moron. You are just a fucking moron. But there are also genuinely, I think, people who, when they talk about, you know, and now the time of the rope comes, right? These are people who are suicidal themselves. These are people who go to suicide as the main insult because they live with it, they don't like it, and they want to push that upon themselves. Like, you know, there is a reason that, you know, I am so quick to do the, you know, you have a tiny penis insult, because, you know, I do. Right? And what I really want is for a whole load of, you know, really rich and powerful men to sort of come out with, yeah, we've all got really tiny penises actually, and, you know, we need to drop the whole antagonism angle. I suppose maybe this is the same logic behind, you know, sort of like gay men who are like, no, we must ban gays from space. And we must ban gays from congregating places because, you know, I don't want to have to live with the fact that I'm gay. You know, it's maybe it's sort of that sort of thing, just like, I don't like the fact that I have a tiny penis. Therefore, I will say that everyone who I dislike has a tiny penis, because one day, they will they will turn back and say, hey, having a tiny penis isn't wrong, and I will say, yeah, brother. And maybe that's what's going on here with, all these people who are like, yes, the time of the rope is coming, you will kill yourself. And that really what they want is for me to turn around and say, hey, dude, here's the number for the National Suicide Prevention Line. It's okay, brother. I'm here for you. We can talk about this. The government's putting you down. You're feeling, let down by society. We can talk about that. Life is shitty. The world is shitty, right? We may disagree on why it is shitty. You may think that it is the immigrants who are taking their jobs, whereas I am, looking at the numerous ways that technology is getting rid of jobs and going, yeah, you're totally fucking right about the immigrants. Totally not all the self-scanning machines and, But I do think that a large amount of the sort of comments about killing yourself are from people who feel that themselves. And and sort of, I want to say, right, your life matters, right? You don't matter to me personally, right? Just to be clear, right? Like, do not think that you can sort of come to me and say, well, I'm feeling suicidal, so therefore you must give me your credit card number, and you must tell me where you live, and the number of your sister's mobile, and you must tell me her panty size. No. You don't deserve to know anything. Also, I think I just implied there I know my sister's panty size. I don't know anything. I don't even know my own pant size. But, my point is, like, do not mistake compassion for the sake of other living beings as, he is an easy mark who will therefore succumb to our plans to punch him in the face. No, I am not a moron. But you do matter as a person, and like, things are tough. Things are very, very tough at the moment, and things are going to get worse. They are going to get a whole fuck ton worse if you are the alt-right, because pretty much, they're going to get a lot worse for fucking everybody, right? Pretty much in the years to come, everybody's going to get shafted, right, one way or the other. But the alt-right are probably the worst people to be at the moment, because the alt-right have just basically shown to the world, we are a threat to all humanity. Look at us. We are fantastic. We are a threat to all humanity. And it's like, okay, how long before you're killed? Being a member of the alt-right in 2017 is not going to be a very wise idea, right? Like, granted, there is going to be a wave that you can crest, but what happens after the wave crests? It crashes, and it's going to crash, right? Like, there are days when I feel very badly about the stakes of planet Earth, and I feel very badly about my faith in humanity, but never under any possible scenario do I think that it is possible that the alt-right will now rise up and they will win over everything, and then the entire world will be an alt-right utopia. No, that isn't going to happen, right? The alt-right may reign supreme for at most a couple of decades, and then they will get their heads kicked in, they will be twatted up, and there will be Nuremberg trials in which people will be put to death, because holy fuck, this is not gonna be something with a happy ending if you're a member of the alt-right, right? Like, granted, you may genuinely believe in the cause of the alt-right. You may be one of the few absolutely genuine nutcases. And if that's the case, fine. You go ahead and you take that bullet for your cause, because, brother, you're gonna get it. If, however, you are someone who is just signing up to the alt-right because, man, it's just dank memes doing it, then, you know, you don't want to be a member of the alt-right. Like, at least have the good sense to know when the wave is about to crash down and say, okay, I'm going to jump a ship because they're going to die, right? Like, they're going to die now. But it's not going to be a good year, 2017. It's not going to be a good year for anyone. No. I mean, I suppose I would say as a feminist that, well, you know, it's still pretty good to be a white male, a cis white male in this day and age, but no, actually, no. At the moment, it's not, because pretty much, at the moment, white men are the enemy. They are, right? Because white men are basically saying, we will exterminate everybody else. Which means that effectively, what's going to happen in the next few years is that, like, if you're Mexican or of Mexican descent, you're fucked. If you are someone who is black or of black descent, you're fucked. If you are someone if you are a woman, if you are trans, you're fucked. And if you're a white man, then you're gonna be pretty good right up until the point the feminist backlash means you're fucked. So yeah, 2017 is gonna be bad. It's going to be very, very bad for all concerned, right? Like, we have all been saying, oh man, 2016, oh, that was so bad, you know, David Bowie dying was, you know, the unraveling of the universe, and right? Oh man, the Mayans got the dates wrong, you know, it's not 2012, it's 2016, that's when the world ends. But no, this is just the beginning now, and things are going to get very, very bad. And this is why I kind of wanted to do a video on sort of suicide and living with suicidal thoughts and tendencies, because it doesn't go away entirely. And I know that for me, it's come to the point now where I take it as a comfort, right? Like, I'm not afraid. You know, there was a time when I was genuinely terrified of dying. When I was genuinely terrified of death and of ceasing to be, and it would keep me up at night, and that was part of the reason that I had such bad sleep as a kid, because it was just the sheer concept of ceasing to exist chilled the ever-living fuck out of me. And I suppose ultimately that's why, as a kid, you know, kids tend to be told, don't worry, you'll go to heaven, or even, I suppose, like hell, you know, yeah, you'll be poked in the arse for all eternity, but, like, from a certain point of view, even that's optimistic, because at least then the existential dread isn't there, right? At least then you'll be able to talk to people, you'll be able to have conversations, you'll be able to form relationships. Like, hey, what are you doing? Ah, I'm getting poked in the ass. Ah, yeah, I'm having my eyeballs plucked out by eagles. Yeah. Steve's getting his dick torn off by a great bull. Yeah. Hey, we should meet up later whilst Karen's getting getting her spine pulled out by an angry aphid. You know. But I was an atheist, so I didn't have heaven or hell. I had ceasing to exist, the endless black void. And I suppose that's where the idea of the great green nothingness came from, because it's just like I want to believe in something other than eternal darkness. But I'm not afraid anymore. And partly that's a chilling thing, because it means that, if you know that you're not afraid to walk through a door, then it means that you know the door is always in the house. You know that it's always in your life. You know that if things get bad enough, you might want to go through it. But I think the thing is that, like, because things are bad, they are genuinely very bad at the moment. I mean, in a weird way, things are also very good at the moment, in the sense that, yeah, we are facing, we are genuinely facing a lot of civil unrest at the moment. We are facing a lot of, a lot of political movements that are scary at the moment. We are facing the threat of climate change. We are facing technological unemployment and income inequality, and all these things that are making life worse for people. And all right, you may disagree with me, and you might instead feel the effects of those things and say, well, it's all really due to scammy people who don't believe what I do and are trying to make believe that what they believe is real. Or maybe you're really blaming some minorities or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's all like there are genuinely forces going on in the world that are putting pressure on society, that are making it hard to go about society and live. That is just a fact. And ultimately we have to sort of deal with that. We have to be okay with that. We have to find a way to live, because it's not going to get better, actually. Certainly not before it gets a whole lot worse. I do actually have this sort of this weird faith in a post-scarcity society, and this weird faith that humanity will, when sufficiently motivated by forces fucking with us enough, that humanity will knuckle down and counter climate change. It may take a hurricane literally destroying the fucking White House. It may take, Buckingham Palace being, swallowed up by a tidal wave. But I do believe genuinely that all these big things that are weighing upon us now will end, and they will end positively, right? That doesn't mean, we can sit around on our asses and not worry about them. That means we go out there and we fucking make that happy ending happen. You earn your fucking happy ending. And there are a lot of people who disagree with me, And it's fine if you disagree with me, by the way. I'm just trying to address this sort of particular attitude as it's relevant to the discussion of suicide. There are a lot of people who disagree with me on the subject of climate change who are just like, well, if it's so bad, why should we bother trying? Because life and hope is always worth fighting for, right? Now, granted, when it's your body and your life, right, like, for the moment at least, humans are still mortal. We are all, for the moment at least, going to die. Therefore, it is not unreasonable to assume to sort of to reach a point in your life where traumatic circumstances, or a degrading body, or a sort of terminal disease have reached a point where you don't think they're going to get better, where it's a fairly medical fact that they're not going to get better, and so you just want to pull the emergency escape cord and say, fuck this, I'm out of here, I'm going to commit suicide. Right, that's fine. That's your right. That's okay. It might not actually be your right, because we might not legally have passed the right to die legislation, because I don't think a lot of people trust a lot of people in politics with the abilities that right to die might give them. But I think a lot of us, certainly I, respect that is your personal decision, and that if you feel the need to pull the emergency escape cord and end your life because actually it's not going to improve, it's not going to get better, it's not going to get anywhere, then like, that's your choice, and I respect that. And it's kind of weird to talk about right to die in a discussion about suicide, but it's sort of relevant. When it comes to the issue of climate change, though, when it comes to the issue of, fighting income inequality, fighting fascism, right? When it comes to fighting any of these seemingly insurmountable establishment-based issues that would require pretty much every single one of these people who never changes their minds ever to all simultaneously change their minds and take a certain action, right? It can seem like these things aren't ever going to happen, that they're never going to happen, and so it's not worth trying to make happen, right? Like, well, it's just going to happen and we're all fucked, so why bother? Because it's one thing when it's your own life. It's one thing to embrace the right to die when it's your own life, but it's quite another when it's all of humanity, when it's all of life on planet Earth, as climate change is, right? I believe that even if we knew for a certainty that there was a 99.99% chance that nothing we would be able to do would hold back or reverse climate change, that it's still worth trying, right? Certainly that it is worth building defences against. And the thing is, we aren't even really doing that. Sorry, a digression, but, you know. there is this attitude of nihilism that things aren't going to get better, actually, that things are just shit, and that people, they just fail, and that nothing good ever fucking happens, so what's the fucking point? The point is that good has happened. The point is that whilst fascism may be on the rise, whilst climate change may be ticking along in the background, and like the watchers on the walls, they're actually, they're actually the big bad waiting to fucking end us all, that nobody's giving a shit about. Whilst income inequality and technological unemployment are fucking people's lives over, there's still Doctor Who, there's still Minecraft, there's still Skyrim, there's still podcasts and Let's Plays and pretty girls, and while there's life, there's hope. While there's life, there are good things in it. Because I'm telling you now, even if you're homeless, if you can watch this, right, chances are you can get to a library, and if you can get to a library, right, at least between the hours when it is open, you can go in there, you can have a nice sit down, you can access their Wi-Fi, you can go onto one of their computers, you can go onto the internet, you can watch your videos, you can do writing, do arting, you can, read, listen to things, and just feel happy. And yeah, maybe it doesn't feel like feeling happy for 5 minutes counteracts against all the horrible shit in the world. But once you're dead, you're dead. There's no going back from that. Not now. Once you're dead, you're dead. So why not stick around a while longer and watch a fucking cat video? Why not stick around a while longer and make some more dank memes? Because while there's life, there's hope. And while there's life, there are good things in it, right? And yeah, it can be frustrating, right? It can be frustrating. I mean, for God's sake, my writing is all about frustration, right? It's frustration that I am trapped in this ugly ass fucking body, that I am trapped in this brain that cannot comprehend talking to people, never mind girls I actually fucking like, never mind fucking girls I like that, and trying to explain to them the fetishes that I like. That's like, first we've got to build the ship that can go to Mars. Then we've got to launch it out the atmosphere. Then we've got to get to Mars. And then once we're fucking on Mars, we've got to find a way to live. No, it's not possible. And yeah, just writing the fiction itself fills me with all kinds of angst, because, oh my god, the feminists are gonna kill me because I'm writing things that the feminists don't like. I mean, that's an exaggeration. Feminists don't kill you for writing bad fiction. But, that is the angst, right? Like, that is the, no, the feminists, they don't like me and they care about what the feminists say because they're good people. Right. I still like writing. I still love writing. I still do writing because it makes me happy. And yeah, it causes me frustration and it causes me angst, but I keep trying because I feel it's worth it. Because I feel like because I feel like when I'm writing, I'm happy. Anyway, this is now an hour-long video. An hour-long video on the subject of suicide and depression at fucking Christmas. So I guess I'll end on one last point, which is that, yeah, life is shit at the moment. Life is definitely shit, and nihilism can feel like the right way to go about things, or maybe stoicism is the right way for you to go about things, but like, we've all got to find our own way, and you know, I would advocate against beating people up to make yourself feel better, although if you're going to, by all means, beat up some members of the alt-right, particularly if they are the super mad, crazy people who are like, yes, all of the black people are inferior, and we shall commit extermination upon them because they are bad and inferior and blah, right? But you know, don't beat up anyone. Beating up people is wrong, you know. Like we have wars for taking care of the alt-right. It's okay, but we all have our own ways of surviving and getting through things, and I guess, like, yeah, life sucks, but you don't have to find a way to make life perfect. You don't have to get the girl, to get the family, to get the sports car, to get the house. You don't have to do all of the big stupid things society says you should, right? Who you are as a person does not depend on some impossible dream. Who you are as a person just depends on passing the next few minutes happy enough that you can postpone killing yourself just that little bit longer. And I suppose I'm going to end off by sort of mentioning, I suppose, one of the moments that probably accounted for part of the reason why I am so hated by the trans community, but that I feel like is important, which is that in my story, The TrAHZ3EN9LU Survivor, right, there were, you know, a bunch of aliens called Vlguri who are effectively a sort of second-class citizen subspecies kept by these gigantic tentacled aliens called the TrAHZ3EN9LU. And they were essentially humanoid, you know, sentient, sapient civilizations, and they were kept to be eaten. And among the Vlguri, they had a kind of sort of variant of people who, among their culture, were known as nature defiant, and it was meant in their culture as kind of as a sort of jubilant thing, right? Like that nature is this cold, nasty, cruel thing of death and darkness and blood and predation, and that the nature defiant are like, no, fuck this, I'm gonna be what I really am, regardless of, you know, shitty blood and guts, right? And, you know, so the part of the plot of TrAHZ3EN9LU, I say part of the plot, you know, the plot of the TrAHZ3EN9LU Survivor is that, you know, obviously they need to stop the Vlguri being, you know, eaten alive by these, being eaten and killed by these aliens, and they need to start them having rights and being respected. And sort of part of the way they do that is by sort of discovering this ability to essentially allow people to survive being eaten alive. to give them a sufficient regenerative factor. And it's kind of a nod to the fact that this isn't such a this wouldn't be such a catch-all, hey, amazing, everybody's safe now, idea, with the fact that, yeah, okay, this might work, and, you know, people might be able to survive being eaten alive, and that therefore, you know, it ends up as a sort of domino effect in society, because basically once the Vluguri can sort of survive being eaten alive, then the Contravoxi kind of don't need to go out raping and pillaging all these different Earths to, you know, keep getting more people to add to their feeding stocks, and like all these poor malnourished workers who are being mistreated because they need access to their rations of food. Like, these workers can now, by virtue of the Vluguri, you know, sort of offering their services, as it were, can then be sufficiently well nourished as to lead the fight back and topple the evil regime and da-di-da-da revolution. And it's sort of a nod to that isn't a grand sweeping, hey, everything's brilliant because now people can be eaten alive, and so therefore the grand, you know, evil people can be overthrown. Is the fact that actually, if you are nature defined, if you are someone whose natural biology isn't what you want it to be, if say you are someone who has undertaken surgery to fix a problem that you perceive in yourself, then obviously, you know, if you get in alive and then you regenerate your body again, well, those flaws, those things those problems that you felt the need to solve through surgery or other means are gonna have come back. And that, like, one of the things we've discussed for one of these, you know, sort of nature-defined characters in the story is that sort of they can see the time coming of their deaths, and they can see that they have the choice of essentially taking this regenerative ability on board and surviving it. But if they did that, then essentially all of the changes that had happened to their body would be undone, and they would be back in a very dark place. And sort of the quote-unquote hero of the story says something there that I think is relevant to this sort of topic of suicide, when he says, just give me one more day. Just one more day. Because that one more day can make all the difference. And maybe at the end of that one more day, you decide, you know what? I think I can have one more day as well. And it goes on and on and on. I know that in the past couple of years, there have been days where I have had to take it a day at a time. There have been days where I have had to just say one more day. Heck, there have been moments where I have just said, well, I've said just until this, just until this. You know, moments where reality crashes down on top of you, and you realise you are in a shitty ass situation, and there isn't an easy way out of it, and you've just got to persevere through the pain, and you know you could take that escape route out, but no. One more day. One more day. And I understand how so much of the trans community's sort of cultural fight back against right-wing conservatism is by saying, oh no, but it's totally natural, and so therefore a sort of a bunch of aliens who refer to it as nature defiant as a very positive thing. I can understand how that can be misunderstood, and obviously I can see how there is an element to where a cis white male explaining to a trans person, hey, here's how to avoid committing suicide, can seem like the most mansplainy thing in the entirety of the universe. Here, I am Mr. Privileged Arsewipe, and I am here to tell you that you should get over your silly little problems, because I know best. And so I can appreciate and understand now why the trans community was not happy with that story. Well, to be honest, the Contravoxi Survivor, it is a story about essentially, overthrowing revolution by saying, well, the people being eaten alive can now enjoy it and live through it, right? Like that's as sort of as sort of stories go, that's not necessarily the most positive message of, hey, if your society is being eaten alive, then you can save it by just trying to enjoy being eaten alive, and make sure you side with the right people, so that when you're being eaten alive, the right people will win and they will treat you better, right? Like, I understand why if you are someone who is looking at the wider, grander themes of narrative and message and sort of, that you might have a lot of serious problems with it. But I personally think that that particular note of just one more day, right? Like, I understand why that may have caused problems for the trans community, but for me, I would say that still stands out to me as kind of really my best advice for anybody who is feeling suicidal is just try to make it through the days, right? Because maybe it doesn't get better, but sometimes it does. And sometimes it just takes enough one more days for life to slowly get that little bit easier to live with. And that's a good thing. And now I really should go. So I have been Alexander Gordon Johans. I'm gonna have to trigger warning this video, aren't I? Because yeah, this is a dark as shit video. Merry Christmas, one and all, and have a happy New Year. Don't kill yourself. Just one more day, yeah. One more day. Thank you to all my Patreons at patreon.com for helping to make videos like this possible. If you wish to leave a like or dislike to rate the video for my analytics, that would be much appreciated. Comments are always welcome, though be aware that they will be moderated before being published, so please be civil. If you liked this video, please consider adding it to your favourites, sharing it to your friends, or subscribing. If you wish to help me out, or my channels, please consider whitelisting my videos in your adblock software, subscribing for monthly donations through Patreon, or giving a small one-off donation. Alternatively, I have a Steam wishlist for games I would consider let's playing or streaming, so if you would like to see me broken before the Dark Souls altar, or just happen to have gotten a duplicate of a game in a humble bundle, then you know what to do. I also have an official Facebook fan page, Twitter account, Tumblr, Reddit and blog, so you can stay up to date with all of my videos, blog articles and the things I care about. Links are in the video description. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I think that all that now needs to be said is ban all guns, institute universal basic income now, and ensure government is elected by proportional representation. Oh, and also, fuck the racists and fuck the alt-right.